Everyone. So thank you for joining this meeting. We are very pleased to see you all here today. So I hope that despite having this meeting online, we will be able to make it very informative and interesting for you. So probably some of you already, especially senior students, have been thinking about where to work after graduation. So if you want to know where a person with a good command of English can work these days, besides being a translator, an editor, or a copywriter, so make yourself comfortable. We will tell you all about it. My name is Tarek. I am from Morocco. Today, my colleague Anton and I will tell you about the job of a technical writer and about how technical writers work at Orion Innovation. So actually, this will be a conversation about how someone with an IT background and excellent English skills, can apply this knowledge in the IT sphere. I will start with the theory. Anton will tell you more about our work in detail in the second part. I would say that if you have any questions during the presentation, you can write them in the chat. And when we are finished with the presentation, we will address them. Alternatively, you can speak your question out. And to do this, please use the hand icon, which is on top in Teams. For right now, please turn off your cameras and mute your microphones to reduce the load on the network. So Anton and I are technical writers at an IT company called Orion Innovation, formerly known as Mira. So the company has changed its name earlier this year because of a merger between us and a US company called Orion Business Innovation. I will talk about this collaboration a little bit later. So perhaps some of you have heard the name Mira before. So it's one of the main employers of IT specialists here in the city, in Nizhny Novgorod. And now I will tell you a little bit more about our company. So Orion Innovation is an outsourcing IT company. Outsourcing means that external customers come to us and ask us to develop software as well as documentation for them. Orion Innovation develops software in a wide variety of industries. As you can see, we have telecommunications, artificial intelligence, finance, healthcare, etc. Historically, Mira is a company established in Nizhny Novgorod 30 years ago. And as I said, after this strategic merger between Mira and Orion Business Innovation, we have become a foreign company and we have significantly expanded our geography. You can see all of our offices all over the world on this map. We have been working in the IT sphere market for over 30 years, as I mentioned, and we employ 4,000 professionals worldwide. There are currently in Nizhny Novgorod 1,400 employees. And even during this Corona crisis, which has unfortunately negatively impacted the business, we have actually improved our performance. Unlike most companies, we do not decrease the number of employees, but quite the opposite. We are actively hiring new people. This means that we are big, reliable, and we take care of our employees. You can read more details about our company on the official website. We will share the link to our website and the contact information after the presentation. Now a few words about our team. We are a part of the UX UI studio that combines technical writers and user interface designers. As of now, we have 16 technical writers with different experience levels that range from interns to senior writers with years of experience. Most of the team are linguists. Some of them are graduates from your department. So you may ask, what makes the Orion Innovation Technical Writing team stand out? So first of all, we work on various documentation projects, such as IP telephony, artificial intelligence, medical equipment, etc. One of the recent projects actually that we worked on was creating documentation for an application that analyzes emotions and intentions of call center customers. This is a topic related to artificial intelligence, which is, a very interesting topic. Our second advantage is the variety of tools we use and the extensive knowledge we accumulated during many years of work with different customers. Most of the team are highly experienced. We constantly keep improving our expertise by taking part in new projects. And finally, we are essentially an international team of like-minded people, so linguists who have decided to conquer this fascinating world of IT. We are the ones that make it easier to understand, closer to the end user, because the documentations that we write is always aimed at the needs and requirements of the end user. So there is even a term for this, which is called user-centric documentation. Now let's see how people become technical writers and why. So there are basically two ways. First, this is former software developers and testers with a strong command of English and for some reason have lost interest in programming or testing, but they decide to write documentation instead. And actually this is my case. So I graduated majoring in computer science and worked as a software engineer for a while. But when I moved here to Nizhny Novgorod, I tried to find a position that will have both this IT background that I have and the languages that I always had a weak spot for. And the job of technical writer was just perfect for that. The second way, this is philologists, so mostly graduates of linguistic universities who have a strong desire to work in IT. According to our observations, this is the most common way of becoming a technical writer. And such people, of course, know how to write texts. Their English is usually at a rather professional level, but they like technical background. They might require some skills or knowledge of technologies like HTML, XML, or special software like RoboHelp, Oxygen, and so on. So it might take some time to train such candidates until they start working without any assistance. And finally, there is a third way. This is computer linguists. So they have a fairly strong command of English, both spoken and written. They have professional skills with working with texts and also the technical knowledge. And of course, if you understand what I'm getting at, it's you guys that I'm talking about. We believe that you have all the necessary competencies to become technical writers. Now let's talk a little bit about technical writers and what they do. So the most obvious thing that comes to mind is that this is the guys that write instructions. So in fact, we come across instructions all the time. For example, you open the manual of a new car you just bought to understand all the things that appear on the front panel. Or you might have just got a new gadget and want to know all the information about the functions and the settings. Or you might want to colonize Mars using a Falcon 9 rocket, and for this you will definitely need instructions. So all of these instructions were created by technical writers, and as you can see, the scope of our work can vary quite extensively. So as we just saw, the technical writers work on diverse things because the technical documentation itself is very diverse. This includes technical specifications, user manuals, administrator guides, online help manuals, etc. And as I already mentioned, our Orion documentation team is engaged in the development of end-user documentation. So in order to understand the process of our work a little bit deeper, my colleague Anton will give you an example of a real task which a technical writer may deal with in the course of work. So Anton, carry on.
Thank you, Tarek. Hi, everyone. My name is Anton, as Tarek already introduced me, and I work as a technical writer at Orion. Let me just say a few words about myself. I graduated from Nizhny Novgorod Linguistic University as a translator and interpreter of English quite a while ago, actually. I had worked as such for many years, but then at some moment I decided to try myself as a technical writer, and you know what? I actually liked it. So enough about myself. Let's go back to the promised real life example that a technical writer may deal with at Orion. So here is this diagram that you see, and it all starts when a client comes to Orion and asks Orion to develop some software for them. For example, let's say, let it be software for a new IP phone model. So then our developers write the code, our user interface designers create the interface. Then evidently testers check the code and the interface for bugs and errors. And then technical writers come in and they create the operating instructions for this phone. Everything is simple on this diagram, but what is behind that short phrase, create instructions? Let's have a look. Creating documentation is a sort of, we may call it an intellectual quest, really, where we need to collect information piece by piece and then create text that an ordinary user can understand. First of all, so it all starts here, our way, we need to determine our target audience. This is important. In other words, we need to understand who the end users of our product are and what knowledge and skills they have. We also need to decide what documents we will need to create, whether this will be just one single user's guide, or we also need a dedicated document on the installation and administration of the product. Next, we study the developer's documentation for this product, but if there is any. By the way, we may run into this if any restriction at any stage of getting the information we need. So before we proceed, we first need to study earlier documents on similar devices. And once again, if we find any. Because unfortunately, in real life, they don't always exist. But yeah, let's presume that they do exist. Finally, we need to study the product or the device itself that we have, and also study its interface. And once again, if we manage to find it, because in real life, this sometimes might be an issue. Next, we need to talk to developers and testers for clarification. But if we feel that that their explanations are not sufficient for us, we may even contact the project manager, because development engineers do not always have a comprehensive understanding of the product. So they might be experts in whatever they do, but they don't see the product in general. And this is what the manager might help us with. As a result of all these steps, we finally get some general picture, and we begin to draw up an outline of our document. And based on this outline, or we may also call it a document plan, we write a draft version of the instructions. So now we have a draft. We then have to send our draft copy for review to technical experts, also known as subject matter experts, or there is an abbreviation for it, SMEs, who evaluate our draft from the viewpoint of technical accuracy. And if the SME makes any edits, and you know what, they always make these edits. So they make these changes and corrections. We discuss them with this SME, then we introduce them back into our draft, and we send it to the SME again for approval. As easy as that. But this kind of work may require some patience from a technical writer, because this step with the introduction of changes may be repeated several times, you know. But this is life. We cannot change it. This is the way how it works. After the approval, when the SMEs finally have no more objections or comments, we finally publish the document. Hooray! But even now, the life of the document and our work with it does not end there. Technical writers are also responsible for keeping the documentation up to date, as the product evolves and there are always new versions of the product. Therefore, changes need to be introduced from time to time. All right. Hope this is all clear. To make our conversation a bit more meaningful, I will now show you an example of one of the possible tasks that a technical writer may need to cope with. Documents that we get from software developers, if we get them, usually require extensive revision. So here you may see an example of some text provided to us by a software engineer. And yeah, such text may be just, such documents that they provide to us. They cannot be used for user manuals, because they're just bare texts like this, like on this slide here, which is not broken into paragraphs. It is written in a colloquial style with elements of professional programming jargon. Terminology is probably not uniform, and the information itself is often not structured. Such texts are, as a rule, such texts are inconvenient to read, and their meaning is completely incomprehensible to the target audience. And we remember what our target audience is, right? Our target audience here is ordinary users like you and me. So in general, we may say that the job of a technical writer is to translate from a developer's language into a human language. So this slide here, once again, shows a sample of the source text. And then when a technical writer has finished working with it, the text looks like this. You can see that the text has been significantly reduced in size, and such items as numbering and headings have appeared. So what have we done to get this result? Okay. Now you can see two versions of the text. The original is on the left, and the text we are working on is on the right. So this is not the final text yet. We will go step by step so that you can see all the changes that we make. So we start with analyzing the text. Let me remind you that we need to write documentation for our particular IP phone model. So we read the text first, and we see that this is some kind of instructions for an employee of a call center who will be using this IP phone for work. And this is our target audience here. And based on the target audience, as we have found out who our target audience is, we can already see how detailed our instructions should be and how simple its language should be. So once we figured out what the text is for and who it is for, we come up with a title. See, right here. At the same stage, we get rid of all the so-called empty talk and unnecessary information. So what information can be considered unnecessary? Well, for example, technical details that the user does not need to know in order to successfully use the product. Finally, we formalize the actions of the call center employee in the form of simple short sentences right here. Next step, we make a brief description of the procedure, which is highlighted in yellow here. In this description, we write why the users need to perform this procedure, and this allows them to understand whether they need it or not without having to read the entire procedure itself. So it saves a lot of time for people. We also make the steps numbered to make it clear to the user that these steps performed in a certain sequence will lead the user to the desired result. If we look at the previous version of this text on the left side of the slide, we will see that there is just a list of actions, and it is not clear in what order they should be performed. Okay, let's go next. We need to rewrite our steps in the imperative mood. Why? Because technical documentation is mostly all about the imperative mood. We need it because we always try to make our instructions as unambiguous as possible. So we are telling the user what exactly he or she has to do. We then also slightly correct the style of the text. We remove all the professional jargon and make construction of sentences as simple and short as possible. At the next stage, we are working with our steps. We separate the action that the user needs to perform from the result of that action, which is also called the step result. So all the results are highlighted in yellow here, and the action is just above the result. And this makes it easier for the users to control the correctness of their actions. And finally, we use formatting to emphasize the interface elements such as names of buttons, sections, menus, whatever. We need to do this to create a visual emphasis on the interface elements the users need to interact with, so that they immediately see which button to click. All right, so as a result, the final text is completely different from the source text. The source text here was bulky and very hard to understand with a bunch of complex terms, while on the other hand, the final text contains a clear and straightforward procedure. As you see, there is no unnecessary information, and the end user will definitely be happy to read such a clear procedure. What do you all think? Does this look complicated? Well, honestly, right, most often it is complicated and difficult, this kind of work, but this makes the work even more interesting. In fact, the example we have analyzed is just a drop in the ocean of all sorts of situations that a technical writer has to deal with in the process of work. in cases when developers are ready to provide us with a ready-made text, which only needs to be revised, such situations do not happen very often. And most often, the work of a technical writer is similar to a quest. Like I already mentioned this quest before, and once again, there is this association with a quest. When at the beginning of the journey, you have almost no information, and then slowly, step by step, you start collecting keys like in a game. You contact experts and get the necessary information from them. You actually dig through pieces of developers' documentation, which, it's really funny. It seems to be written in English, but for some reason is almost absolutely incomprehensible sometimes to a technical writer. But this is only at the beginning. Gradually, step by step, you are getting closer to solving this quest. And like with some sort of a puzzle, the complete picture is starting to form from many pieces. Isn't that great? And the most important thing that brings pleasure from work is actually the understanding that your work is really important, that someone out there really needs it. Without the right user guide, they will simply be unable to do their job right. You see, technical writers matter. So if you are interested in this kind of activity, when you are a bit of a researcher, a bit of a tester maybe, and even a little bit a psychologist, but in general you are an author, then technical writing is just for you. And the easiest way to check if this job is right for you is to become a trainee on our documentation team. We will be happy to share our work tasks with you, introduce you to our projects, and generally help you to plunge into this beautiful world of documentation development. The only requirement for trainees is you need to have interest in IT and in writing. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that you do not have to wait for the summer to take this training course. We will actually be ready to welcome you starting from April next year. The second option, which will probably interest you as a master's degree student even more, is the opportunity to become a technical writing intern at Orion. And this is a little bit different from training. So what is internship at Orion? Internship at Orion is a full-fledged teamwork for 3 months. The internship is paid and interns are officially employed. So as an intern, you will be provided with all the necessary equipment, as well as a workplace in the office. And if the quarantine situation does not change, you will be able to work remotely. This is what we all do, as you see. And we have been working remotely since March, I believe. And okay, next thing, during the internship, an experienced technical writer is assigned to you for mentorship. Your mentor will teach you the basics of technical writing, show you some special purpose software, and will answer all your questions definitely. And a very important point here is that you can combine your internship with your master's degree education. So you don't have to stop your studies. And of course, we are also happy to consider candidates from among those who have already graduated or who have just graduated. So what you get when you become a part of the Orion Innovation Technical Writing team. Here is this huge list of all the benefits and privileges you will get. First of all, you will get skills, which is very important. You understand, skills that are in demand all over the world. In general, the job of a technical writer is becoming more and more popular in many industries these days. You will also gain experience in working with world-known customers, top brands. We cannot disclose the names of these brands since this is confidential information, but there is a high chance that each of you or someone that you know at least uses some of their products in everyday life. You will be able to you will be able to work in different projects. In the first part of this presentation, Tarek already mentioned the areas in which Orion provides services. Just let me remind you a couple of them. To name a few, this is artificial intelligence, the automotive industry, the Internet of Things, telecommunications, and many more. So there is simply no chance that you will ever be bored, right? There will always be a project for you. Another important thing about working at Orion is that Orion pays a lot of attention to the professional development of its employees and always encourages their desire to acquire additional knowledge. Then last but not least, we have a really friendly team of technical writers. We regularly have educational trainings, and in particular for the purpose to develop the competencies of a technical writer. And yeah, that wasn't the last one. And the last one is maybe not that important, but still, Orion offices are located in different districts of Nizhny Novgorod, so you can choose the office that will be most convenient for you in terms of its location. So we invite you to become a trainee or an intern in our team at Orion. Let me summarize once again how training differs from internship. Training is part-time occupation. The goal here is to try this type of activity in order to understand whether it is suitable for you. Training takes place in April and May and lasts for approximately 6 weeks. This is not necessarily a full-time occupation, as I already said, and you don't get paid for it. On the other hand, internship, as opposite to the training, is a full 8-hour working day. It lasts for 3 months, 40 hours per week. So this is like real work. And unlike with training, you receive a salary for being an intern. Internship should be considered as the starting point in your career. The main idea of internship is to gain knowledge. And when your internship is finished, you may get a chance to stay with the team as a junior technical writer and start working on a real project. So finally, what do you need for this? First, in order to become a trainee, if you want to try this first, right, so you need to write us about this in the feedback form, and we will give you the link to this feedback form when we are done with the presentation. I will share the link in the chat. Yes, and we kindly ask you to fill it out and send it to us. Right, and another option is just to let your academic supervisor know that you would like to become, that you would like to be trained at Orion. In order to become an intern, if you're interested in internship, you need to send your resume or CV to our email, which is given here, and that's docteam@orion.com. We will send you a test assignment, and if you succeed with it, we will invite you to an interview. And then if you pass the interview, we will invite you. Okay, so our presentation is finished now, and we are ready to answer your questions. So as Tarek said, you may write your questions in the chat, or you may raise your hand using the icon in the top bar in Teams, and then you may speak your question out. Okay.
I think I was the first to put up my hand, so may I start? Thank you very much, Tarek and Anton. That was a great presentation, and I think a dream job you've told us about. I'm sure there will be lots of questions from our master students, and you see, somehow it also made me feel very enthusiastic about what I am doing right now, because actually we are teaching students how to deal with texts. Because exactly, so you've given this example, and this is how we are working at texts. This is how we are trying to make them concise and precise and coherent for the target audience. So you see, our program is a practically oriented program, and we want to show linguists who do not want to work as interpreters or teachers. We want to show them other roads, if I may say so, to success, a way to the IT sphere. And you see, we are moving in the right direction. This is what I now know, and that's why I feel really, really very good about it all. May I ask a question, just to start with? And the efficiency of a technical writer measured, because you've shown this process, which is quite time-consuming, and well, in my case, it's the teaching load. How much I should teach, I need to teach, and is it measured in the volume of texts? I mean, the efficiency of a person who works as a technical writer.
Well, this is not an easy question to answer, because situations are different. Projects are all different. So this is definitely not measured in the amount of text produced, because different texts have different complexity, different projects, and different software has well, I mean, there's less and more complicated software. So sometimes you may spend weeks in order to produce just one page of text. Just you need to study everything thoroughly. You need to do a lot of a lot of preparatory work. But yeah, in other cases, like when you get some information from developers that only needs to be revised, like restructured and stuff, yeah, you may definitely do this much quicker. But yeah, I know it always depends. So I cannot just answer that this is measured in the amount of text. No, definitely not.
Thank you. And I wanted our international students to be more active. I wanted to ask them to be more active right now, because there are not many companies companies who agree to take international students as their interns or to take them for a shorter period of time for training. The only remaining option for you will be to work as teachers at our university. So that's why please show that you are interested.
So we got a question here. It's about the essential IT skills needed to be a technical writer trainee. Well, right, I don't even know what to answer here. Well, you definitely don't have to be a professional software developer. You need to have some technical IT background. You need to understand how the computer works and then how the operating system works. Things like what API is, stuff like that. Just general technical and IT background. And I believe that all of you guys do have that. So we're not even questioning it. So most of students these days do have this background until they unless they are complete humanitarians, and I don't think that you guys are humanitarians. So so I believe that you guys do have these skills. Is the schedule for interns flexible or fixed? Important for time management and studies. Is the schedule discussed with every intern in person? Not sure about this one because I'm not the one responsible for organizing the activities for interns, but I think that you can always negotiate, although it has to be actually 8 hours a day. So but I think it could be flexible. So you could, well, but do you think you will be able to combine studies and work 8 hours a day? That will be, I don't think that will be easy.
But we have actually, I'm sorry, Anton, for
yeah, go ahead, Marie, please, because yes, Maria is the one who can answer this question better than I can.
No, that's not a problem. So we just have a living example in our room. We have actually a student, a master student who is working, who combines his work and studies and does that successfully. So and I can't say that actually his schedule is any different from a standard schedule of any technical writer in Iran. So just it's pretty much the same, but still he's quite successful in combining both the tasks and just I think late hours, right? I mean late classes add to that. So he does all his working activities in the morning or during the daytime, and then he goes to classes. So that's pretty much possible.
Is it possible to do an internship at Orion as a foreign student? Well, yes, this is what we're doing this presentation for. I think, of course, it is possible because otherwise we wouldn't be inviting you guys. Multiple language knowledge and translation background can be accepted as an advantage in the technical writing sphere.
Sure.
Well, definitely, of course. I mean, the most, well, apart from some technical background that we require from candidates, is the English language, which is extremely important. So if and of course, the more languages you know, the better, because sometimes we have, well, although not very often, but we do have localization projects as well. So you might be, be very useful in this case. And I think Tarek even participated in one of those.
Yeah. So yeah, I used. So I know French, I know Arabic. So I use whenever it will help, and I can use the language skills. Yeah, I do. So it is definitely a good advantage if you know more than one language. For sure.
It is an advantage, but just let me put this straight, that English is the most important in any case. So
sure.
Your English knowledge is the most important. So yeah, because most of the, well, actually all the projects that we work with are in English language. So yeah.
English first. And
yeah, everything else is an advantage.
Right. And Anton, I believe we have a raised hand.
Oh, we do?
Yeah. Or was it the same question, Mehmet? Oh, not raised now. Okay.
Not anymore.
Can I ask a question? May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Could you tell me what tools do you use for technical writing? So what programs, what tools are usually used for this work?
Okay, let me try to recall all of them. And so these tools are Arbor Text Editor, as far as I remember. This is FrameMaker, Adobe FrameMaker. This is Oxygen. What else do we use? Guys, please help me out.
So we have to know how to use these tools, or
no, you don't.
You
don't.
Okay.
But if you do know, it will be an advantage once again. But you don't have to know how to use them, because this is what training and internship is for. You will be able to learn how to use them in the course of your training program. So there is another question. What are the hours like for a trainee? I think that Maria, could you please answer that question? I believe that the schedule. Sorry, the schedule is flexible, right? And what are the hours for a trainee?
Yeah, it is, right. It is flexible, and here just we have to stick to your academic schedule, let's say so. So if you're supposed to spend, let's say, only 4 hours a day for a training, we can go with that. So tasks are assigned individually, so that can really vary depending on the project that you will be assisting or your mentor. So you're also assigned with a mentor during your training. But just for training, there will be like, let's say, a lighter version of your tasks, of course. So you'll be proofreading the text, you will be authoring some simple pieces of information, you will be testing. So basically the same tasks that we do at our work, but they will be a little bit lighter, I would say. Hope that helps.
Edita has a raised hand. You have another question, or you just forgot to put your hand down?
I don't know how to put it down. I have already asked my question.
Okay.
Just click the icon, the hand icon once again, and yeah.
What advice would you give? Would you give yourself at the beginning of your career of a technical writer? Oh. What advice would I give myself? Or what advice would I give to you at the beginning of your career of a technical writer?
I would say read manuals. If you have product or anything which has a manual, pick it and read it. You will at least get familiarized with how texts are written, the form, the language, the vocabulary. So all of these things will help you for sure, to develop your own skills.
Yeah, you can also read. There is a lot of information in the internet about technical writing. You can watch some videos. I don't know. So you can do lots of things. But yes, reading manuals is a very important thing, because when reading the manuals, you will you will learn from those manuals how they actually are written by professional technical writers. Yeah, but make sure that you pick something written by a professional writer from some, some famous software. Okay.
I just wanted to quickly add, probably, sorry for once again interrupting. Yeah, I just thought that probably the general advice would be just open to the world, be open to the world and be curious about it in general. I mean, don't be afraid to learn something that is extra. Like when I entered technical writing, I considered myself to be a pure linguist, if I can say so. I mean, just a purely humanitarian. But then the whole world of IT, which was not so scary, open to me. So just be open to it and don't be afraid to accept challenges. That would be it, I guess.
Will training be offered online for international students? Well, if the quarantine situation does not change, then it will be offered online, I believe. Marie, please comment if I'm not right.
All right. Yeah, I guess so. That's the case, right? For international students, everything will be online. Yeah, considering the situation, of course, and probably not only for international students. So
yeah, for everybody.
We will consider, remote working at least till May, I guess.
Do trainees get a certificate after the training course? Is the occupation official? Well, if you want, we will print out one. We will print it out for you. But no, we don't give any certificates. It's the training course is for you to understand whether this job is suitable for you, right? So you just find out for yourself whether you need it or not, whether you want to work as a technical writer at Orion or somewhere else. This will depend on your further choice. So is the occupation official? I don't really understand what this question means.
Like
what do you mean
official?
I mean, we don't give any certificates for this. And yeah, I mean, but this is a good question, by the way. we never thought about
I think yeah.
What does it mean official? So for the internship, it is. This is because you get paid, so it is with the government. But for the training, there is no compensation for that. So
it's just part of your studies. Yeah, I mean, for the certificate, we can think of something if you do really need it. But I think you will also just get all the documentation just related to your training. You will fill it in, and we'll also just fill it in, and you will have some proof that you had training in our company. So no worries about that.
So once again, training is some practice that you get. So you get something more important than a certificate. So you get skills, you get knowledge that you will be later be able to use in your work. And you get something which is more important than a certificate. So this is training, which is also called practice, right? And internship is when you are already pretty sure that you would like to be a technical writer, and yes, you are ready to plunge into this world of technical documentation. And yeah, I mean, this is what differs them, training and internship. Is the technical writer job only about product manuals? Well, mostly, yes. It is about user manuals for different types of software. but the software is so diverse that, you know, it's completely from different industries. Is the application for internship always open? If not, when will it start? I guess that it is always open, but, you know, as soon as we get too many interns, we will probably have to close it. So the application is open right now. I mean, you can already apply for internship.
Yeah, and did you guys just share the email for submitting your CVs, your resumes? Just let's do that in the chat. Yeah, because right now you can actually submit your resume and just send it to the mailbox. That's our documentation team mailbox. And we also send a test assignment in response, but that will make it official. I mean, after that, if everything goes successful, you have to attend a job interview. And if you succeed at that, just you'll be taken as an intern. Yeah, a full-time employee. So just
So
don't miss the
internship is
chance.
something almost like you're actually applying for a job here. Like you're applying for a job of a junior technical writer, but in this case, you're applying for a job of an intern because you don't have any experience yet. And if you already have some experience, then you can apply as a junior technical writer, of course. But if you don't, then you can apply as an intern. And yeah, and training is different. So training is just for you to decide whether you like it or not. Is there a deadline for the application for the internship? Is there, Maria? I don't think there is a deadline, but once again, if we get the sooner the better. I mean, if we get too many, like maybe let's put this question in a different way. Interns, are we ready to accept, Maria?
Just in the meantime, we need at least 3 interns. But I think in the future we can consider more when it comes to, and still those actually positions are open, those vacancies are open. So you, I don't know, you can actually book it. I mean, you can contact us and you can complete a test assignment, and if it is successful, you'll be considered as the first candidate. Yeah, so I think the sooner the better in this way.
I believe starting as a trainee with you, then requesting for internship is the best way as IT beginners, don't you think so? Well, that's actually a rhetoric question. So you answered it. I mean, well, it depends of what sphere of IT you're talking about. If you are planning to become a software developer or a tester, then maybe doing some technical writing internship is not the best idea. Okay, so I would say that you know, starting as a or maybe you meant as the best way as for starting your career as a technical writer. If so, then yes, why not? So if you're not sure yet that you are ready to become an intern, then you can try yourself as a trainee first, and then if you feel some power, then you can try yourself as an intern. So it depends on your own feelings.
And probably on your current employment as well. If you're, I don't know, if you're working right now anywhere, so that could also influence that.
Deadline for the application for the training. Is there a deadline, Maria?
Well, I think we need to know the list, let's say at least by March. It would be good. But you can actually start applying right now. So first of all, the first step would be, again, you can book in advance. If you know that you have a training in April, May, then it's better to let us know about that in advance so that you would be, again, first on the list. Because here we have some limit, so we can't accept more than 2 or 3 candidates actually for the training. Yeah, just based on the resources that we have for mentorship. So that actually brings us to having some kind of a test assignment for that, if required, if we have, let's say, 5 candidates or more. So just book in advance. That's all we can say.
So if there are too many candidates for training, then they will also have to pass a test or something, right?
Yeah, that's exactly so.
Okay, this is important information. So we are ready to accept up to 3 trainees and up to 3 interns, right?
Yeah, so for interns, that might vary. I mean, if we have some more vacancies open in the future, and that will be so, I believe. But for trainees, it's pretty much fixed, only 3. Yeah.
Okay. What are the qualities of a junior technical writer? They're actually given in our job offer, I think, although they are all in Russian, which is published on the hh.ru website. Will somebody be able to paste them here? Somebody from the Orion team, will you guys be able to find that those requirements for a junior technical writer and paste them to the chat?
Yeah, we'll try to. The only thing is that I believe we have a vacancy open for just a technical writer, not for a junior one. But we can think, yeah, of something. I mean, just Galal, if you're interested, you can contact us directly using that email, and we'll share the requirements with you via email.
Can you send a link to apply for training? I think you can apply by filling out the form that the link to which is at the top of the chat in the very first message that I sent. So fill it out, and yeah, and you can state there whether you're interested in training or internship, and this will be your application, I believe. Please correct me, Maria, if this is not so.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So additionally, we can create a spreadsheet. So Edita, if you hear this right, we can create a spreadsheet, right? If that's all right for the students to fill it in, but just to have the whole list. Yeah, let's probably do that. I don't know, or yeah.
Good idea. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
We need a manual on that then. You need a manual on what? I'm sorry, could you please clarify? You need those requirements for a junior technical writer, you mean? Okay, well, I hope that someone from Orion people here will find those requirements on our SharePoint. There must be somewhere there, because I cannot do that right now, as I'm busy answering those questions.
Yeah. I mean, basically, they're just having a C1 level of English, advanced level of English, right? Having some, if we're speaking about junior writers, having some working experience with texts, right? I mean, no matter if you're an interpreter, translator, copyright, I know anyone, copywriter, anyone, so working with texts primarily. Just have an experience of working in a company, but that's a bit optional. So for a junior writer, that's pretty much your linguistic expertise and your experience of working with texts. Yeah. And of course, IT background, so generic IT background.
could you please send us your direct contacts in case someone decides to apply for the job later and wants to ask if there are vacancies for either training course or internship? You can use the email that I've shared, docteam@orioninc.com. So you can use that email in case, or you can address Edita and she will contact the necessary person at Orion.
Yeah. That's pretty much direct. I mean, the email would be pretty much direct. We're monitoring that mailbox every day, even more than that. So, and just, yeah, you would be contacting us directly through that.
All right. Any more questions?
It seems like there are no more questions. Then I'd love to thank you all on behalf of all the students. Really great presentation and a very interesting job. I'm sure. I don't know what you're going to do with all these applicants you're going to have in the nearest future, but I'm sure that I feel that many students really got very motivated. That's the way you told us about the job. Hopefully the job is equally interesting. Well, thanks a lot. I have talked to Maria and hopefully we'll continue this discussion because I would like to invite you, if you find some time, to have a workshop with us to teach us something, at least some tasks to get us a feeling of the job, to understand better what it is. Maria, remember we talked about it perhaps, but I think we don't need to. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Right, I do remember. Yeah, and thanks for reminding that. I think that's a great idea, and let's probably work on that. I mean, a real workshop from our side would probably somehow let everyone understand better what we are talking about, just to understand all those tasks in practice. Let's probably schedule something, but yeah. Yeah.
I'll be in touch. Thank you very much again. Thanks a lot. And I'm going to send a link to a Zoom meeting to our students. Perhaps they have something to discuss with me. Thank you very much, Maria and Anton and Derek. You're great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please
Thank
don't
you.
forget to fill out the form that I sent to you. And if you have further questions, if you decide later that you need to clarify something, please use that email that I've provided. You can send your questions directly to that email and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And thank you all for coming. This was really exciting and interesting. And I really hope that, yeah, you've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone.
Bye.
Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.